and I still have them, a rubber device that's perfect of my teeth. So,
well, since I was going to be invited to IBM TV, I thought I should, and I was going to the dollar store anyways. I saw the teeth whiteners. Hey, it made sense to me at the time.
You're doing all the right things for TV. Let me tell you, you are doing all the right things. The anti-wrinkle creams.
Yes.
I am so proud of you, not just for doing it, but for sharing it, because people don't know what. And the IRS agent goes, "You don't have to do this," and I go, "Yes, I do. I have to do these things." Because the IRS goes, "Well, we can't let you take this off for appearance," and I go, yeah, your laws say I can, it's for my job. And so I'm glad you're a true testimony.
And Kim, I would like to invite Anandmai from Delhi, and she's our mental expert, healing and life coach. And we were talking about teeth, now let's talk about how the brain works.
And welcome.
Namaste, everyone.
Namaste. Welcome.
Namaste.
So welcome.
So, much,
so share with us what you do.
So I am a certified life coach and a healer and a therapist. I practice a couple of different type of healing technique, which is nowadays becoming very famous, and alternative healing techniques, which is Reiki or Neuro Linguistic Programming, emotional freedom techniques, journey healing. All these techniques, it's there in our system. Like when I talk about it, I just don't talk about it as what I have learned so far and what I have practiced. I speak on my own experience, that how it has changed my life. I have been practicing all these spirituality and alternative healing techniques for over 7 years now. So when so it's always there in our system, and especially in India when we talk about forgiveness, it's always there. When we talk about unconditional love, it's always there. So when and in the researches also, it has been proven that when we think negatively, our physical illnesses, that they aggravate, and we catch a lot of different type of diseases in our body. So what we do is that we just trick the brain not to think about those illnesses, and we work with uh, the the point where we reach to the core emotional issue with the patient or the client, and then uh, I just try to help them to, because the answer is there in them only. They know that what is the problem, why they're suffering from such things. It's just that the logical brains always rejects that. So so that's what I do.
Well, and it's really good to have someone like you for people who are hit with challenges and painful, emotional and physically, because sometimes that becomes our wall, right? And we can't think past it. And to talk with someone in our family or somebody who's close with us, we either don't want to embarrass ourselves by continuously sharing these pains, or they don't understand it, or we believe they don't understand it. So we shame ourselves into thinking that we're wrong, and it's very difficult to get past. So thank you, because the job you do is very difficult, because it's dealing on the empathy level as well as the mental level. And I think we don't have enough of that in our world. So very great. Why did you choose to do this?
Kimberly, as I said, that I started, and I'm talking more of my own experience. So I was going through a troublesome marriage long back, and then I was clinically labeled with depression, and I was on pills and tablets. So then I thought, what is beyond this? Why this is happening? So why, like, when you start thinking that why this is happening to me, what is this teaching me? Then the thing shifts. So when I was in that troublesome marriage, I just wanted to come out of it, and I honestly didn't want it that time. I didn't want it to be on the pills for the rest of my life, because in India also we think that if we start some kind of medication, especially for something like depression, we have to be on it for lifetime. and that was not my purpose. So I started learning Reiki, and it has helped me a lot. Then I thought, okay, what next? What next? So one by one, the chapters they started getting unfolded for me. So that's why I started. And then I thought, if it has helped me, why I cannot help others? There are many people who are there who are needing it. But in India, what happens? It's a taboo to talk about mental health, especially to talk about emotion. This like Ankit and Rakesh sir will like relate to it, because
Yeah.
this phrase in Hindi,
Very
"Sab
true.
theek ho gaya," it means that everything will be all right. Why are you thinking in a negative way? Mitti dalo, aage badho. But when you put that under the rug, it's not going to help you. It's going to come back. Whenever you are like just pulling the rug a little bit, then it's going to come back with a big disaster. So
You're so right. You can't push these things under the rug, and you can't shame yourself. All too often, we're shamed in our country. To if you go see a psychiatrist, people think you're crazy. I actually think you're smart because
Oh, it's true.
you're trying to stop the crazy. This is what I tell people. That's probably the best thing you could do when you're sick and you have your heart's not feeling good. You go see a heart doctor, right?
yes.
And that was smart. You're going to stop the heart disease, hopefully, or you're going to get the surgery you need. The same thing with a mental problem. It doesn't mean that you're crazy and you're going to stay crazy. And I agree with you about the medications. I agree with you 100% because, but what a lot of people don't understand is some of the medications are so altering to the human body to go on them, and then if you cold turkey go off of them, it will cause more problems, especially the ones that are mind altering. And a lot of people don't know this. And I've done extensive research on this, as well as I think I was an extensive experiment at one time because of my pain. I have a chronic pain. So what you do is awesome to help us get through this mentally. Thank you. Yes, Rakesh.
Just a little bit. A lot of people don't know that even Winston Churchill, somebody as strong-minded as Winston Churchill, suffered from depression. And it's often called the common cold of mental illness.
He
Unfortunately,
referred to it as his black dog.
Yes, the black dog. And so many people, there's so much of stigma attached to it in India. Well, people get it and then get out of it. I too did suffer from depression just after my divorce, my first divorce, and then a second divorce. So I had to go back on medication. But the later medications, not Prozac is one of the earlier ones. The later medications are less addictive, and you can walk out of them after 2 or 3, maybe years. You can pull out of them like I did. I don't take any more. I since 2015 I haven't touched anything for depression. So it is something which can be fought. Yeah, it can be fought. And as you change your circumstances, and you can work your way out of it. I don't know much about Reiki, though I had a good friend who talked to me about Reiki, but I'm still a little, I'm not sure what it's all about.
Well, I have a level 1 certification in Reiki, and as you know, that it is not very advanced. But I was drawn to it for pretty much the same reasons. It was energy based, and it was helpful for me with my bouts of depression as well. And I found it extremely useful, and I was very attracted to it. But my question to you is, it's Japanese oriented. It was created in Japan, and that tradition has been carried on now to other countries. So how did you find Reiki?
So, very good question, and thank you for asking this, because this is my favorite topic to talk about. So,
Can you bring your microphone up? That's beautiful.
Sure. Okay.
Thank you.
So, when I visited to my psychiatrist, she was a Reiki grandmaster as well. So while treating me, she asked me that, do you want to go through this therapy? Do you want to learn this? And I was like, to be honest, I was very skeptical about it. Like, I was the one who told her on her face, and that's not an excuse. I told her that you are just luring people and for money. All these things, they doesn't work. How can you just put your hand on somebody and somebody's healed? So that's what I told her in my first session. And then she said, you will know the reason why I asked you to do this. When I started learning this after my first attunement, what Jim said, the level 1 attunement, uh, uh, something very magical happened. I know that how bad that interview was. If I have taken my own interview, I could have rejected me 100 times. I got that job. And that's in a global giant company. And I was like, is this a coincidence? Is this a miracle happening? What's going on? So, that the doctor, she told me that I should get into it, because she said that I see through you, that your life purpose is helping people and not sitting in this depression for rest of your life. So that's how I was drawn to it.
Wonderful story.
Wow, beautiful.
Anandmai, I would like to understand that, people are suffering from all kinds of depressions, and they feel low and things like that throughout their lifetime. How important is your willpower and your own inner strength to overcome these situations? Because,
Go ahead. Please go ahead.
I'll ask the second question after your comments.
Okay. So the first thing is that you have to have the realization of it first, and then you have to accept it. So if you do not realize it, that you are in depression because of the taboo, because of your home environment or any other reason, you will not accept it, and then you will not seek your help. And you said it very rightly, Ankit sir, that if a person is willing to come out of any situation, and there are a lot of examples all over the world that people have experienced near to death experiences, and they came back to their body and they're living happily ever after. That's that sort of story. So willpower is very much needed and very much important to overcome this, and I'm one of the example of it. So yeah.
And also, the second part of the question is that a lot of people who are strong and who believe that they are strong-hearted and they are strong willpower and they know how to control it out, they also require some kind of help with the counselors and life coaches. So what do you see a difference between a person who is low with willpower and they don't have much stronger or maybe strong-minded capabilities, and as compared to the person with all those capabilities? So is the therapy different for different people?
Yeah, so the approach will be different for different people. So for people who are less willing, but their family or friends want them to get help, so there will be a very softer approach. And as you said, that for people who are very strong-headed and who thinks that the things are in their control, so they put up a mask of strength. So again, beyond that mask, there's a tiny little boy or a girl who's sitting and seeking help, crying out loud that please help me. But because they have an image to maintain, or because of the circumstances around, they just don't accept it. So realization and acceptance is the first two steps, or you can say the basic step of getting that help to you. And approaches, of course, will be different in both sort of things, but yes, acceptance and realization is the key to it.
But we have just met, and I can't believe you just described me so well. And because in the Western world, and Ankit, I thought your first question was so Western, and because we are shamed to admit that we have depression, even any kind of mental illness. Our society is trained to make us feel bad about ourselves. And especially because you're supposed to be strong, you're supposed to have willpower, and that's supposed to be enough. And when you wear the mask, as you described, which I did quite well, as a matter of fact, I had promotions and titles and money, and these things were not talking to the little boy inside me. These things did not say, "You're okay, little boy." The awards didn't matter, the titles didn't matter, the compensation didn't matter. I still felt like that little boy wasn't heard. And by going through the Reiki treatments, I really felt better about myself, and I have a life coach doing much the same kind of work that you've done, and it was the best thing that I ever did for myself. It was hire a life coach.
Maybe it's something too. I had a really good, my first psychiatrist many years ago, kind of like you. I'd done so much and achieved so much, but I felt like I was having to make a lot of compromises to achieve those goals, and that my inner soul wasn't being heard. And they weren't wrong compromises that hurt other people, but they just weren't of my convictions, you know. And I fought so hard, and sometimes I felt like I wasn't appreciated for the things that I was trying to do for the good of people, because that was always my intentions. But I had somebody one time tell me that all good intentions can be a road to hell, and I know what he meant now. That it was your own personal, but one of the things I learned from my first mental care was continued maintenance. Don't stop after we finish. In other words, he even told me, call me anytime. Years, you know, when we finally, he felt like I was ready to kind of fly on my own. He told me, I'm always here for you. You can always call me for maintenance. He goes, check in with me in a year and just say hi and let me know you're doing okay. I thought that was a great doctor. It wasn't check in with me, I'll bill you. It was just say hi and let me know you're doing okay, that you not only learned, but and if you ever need help, call me back. So there, to me, people, I think they get well. And this is a conversation I was having with another person the other day. We get well, and even Dr. Brown says that, or we get over a situation and we move on and we forget to go back and keep addressing and making sure that that doesn't come back. I think the practice that you're doing is kind of like anything else. It's something that we have to continue. Not like a pill that you have to take every day, but a continued discipline, not to allow ourselves to go into that dark place. Because we all get there. I think everyone gets it in this day and time. And I mean, look what we're dealing with right now with COVID. You cannot tell me that everybody who's been in lockdown is going to walk away saying that they're fine. They're just not. We've all been impacted. Even the people who are used to staying home every day, when they have to go into town to their small grocery store or to the farm and feed store, they have to suit up. You know? And then there are those who go, I'm strong, I don't have to suit up, I don't have to put on my mask. So we got that going on right now. And what
Absolutely.
I tell is, don't let your actions and decisions be the mistake that ends up accidentally killing somebody. Right?
Kimberly,
I would like to know. I mean, we didn't ask you that where are you from and what you've done.
I'm so sorry. I forgot my manners because I was so excited about
me too.
about your treatments. Yeah, we all need it. Like we all. Need it. But who are?
No problem. No worries.
So share more about your life too. What you do now. We know why you did this, but how did you get there? What kind of training did you take?
Okay, so right now I stay in Delhi, New Delhi, India. And I basically hail from Bihar, which is kind of an eastern part of India, very small town. I came to Delhi in about 2007 for my studies and job. When in 2013, when I started learning Reiki, so just immediately after that, I thought that what next? Couple of my friends from that Reiki group, they started their own businesses, and I was thinking that why I cannot start the business? I should also do business. I should also earn money and stuff. But then I realized that I am not equipped enough at that time to help people. I understand Reiki is a very beautiful energy, and trust me in this, it can change your world for better. Then I started learning and exploring things. After learning Reiki, I learned emotional freedom technique, which works with NLP and acupressure points, where we tap and say positive affirmations, and then that resolves your problems. EFT is very much helpful in anxiety, overwhelm of emotions, panic attacks, pain, physical pains, and stuff. Then I got trained in international certification in Neuro Linguistic Programming, and access conscious bars, and then I got trained in journey healing, which is recently developed. It's not more than 20 years old, but it's very, very powerful. And I'm still a practitioner in making. I cannot call myself a practitioner yet, because I am interning and I am learning the techniques to the core of it. So that's all about it.
Wow. So,
Can you repeat
So,
that last one? The last one that you got, the last training that's in the last
It's
20
called
years?
journey. Yeah, it's called the journey healing technique, and it is developed by Brandon Bay. She has written the book also, The Journey. So, and then she has developed a technique after writing the book. She has developed the technique after practicing on herself. She thought that if it can help me, it can help the world. And it actually does. It actually does. When I work with people for my internship case studies, they come back to me and then they tell me, I haven't felt this free before. There's a girl who was suffering from spondylitis, slip disc, and she said, I have not lifted my baby girl from last 2 years because of the pain, but now I can lift her up, and that was just in one session. Because
wow.
on times what happens that your emotion or your feeling that gets stuck in one of your organ, and that manifests in terms of physical illness. So it works magically when you take your doctor's advice, you follow your doctor's prescription and diet, and along with, if you work with your emotions, even your cancer can get healed.
Wow,
There,
wonderful.
it's
Anandmai,
about
I
the
would
feeling of acceptance, right? You accept that you have it. You don't have fear of it. You learn about. Like, I am so glad you said listen to your doctors too, because you have to understand what you have. You have to educate yourself on the disease, the poison that you have, so that you can heal it or heal it here. And it's not all these diseases aren't just in our mind, but accepting them and not being afraid of them is part of that healing. And I'm so glad you said that. Thank you. Rakesh,
Yes.
you have a question?
Anand,
No. I was just
Okay.
happy to hear what's
I would like to ask you something. We talk about depression and we talk about acceptance and realization. How important is appreciation in the journey of healing? Because people always like to appreciate, or maybe they wanted to hear good words about themselves, and if they have done something good and bad and all those things. So how important is that appreciation for everyone else?
Okay, so I before I answer your question, I will ask you one question. Can you tell me what
So,
are the basic human needs?
what
Basic human needs.
food, clothing, and
basic
shelter.
happiness and food and shelter?
Good one. Okay,
I got
yes.
more.
So, yes, true. So, but there are different sort of human needs which are like really basic, which is food for our soul, food for our mind, which is
Yeah.
love, appreciation, certainty, recognition, your connection could be with your partner, with the world, with your divine, or with your parents, with your surrounding and stuff. So it all starts when you start appreciating yourself. Earlier, it was very difficult for me to look into the mirror into my own eyes and say I love you. That was very difficult. I was embarrassed to hell. Like, one time I will look into my eyes and say I love you, and like, oh God, what's happening? I have to run out of this room. But now when I talk to myself, whenever I see a reflective object where I can see my face, or I can see just my uh, just a shadow of me also, I said, oh, you are so beautiful and I love you a lot. So when you start appreciating yourself, you start attracting appreciations from all around. So that's called one law of attraction.
Yes.
On the second point, if you have someone in your family or friend who is suffering from this label, depression, or any mental illness, you have to be very supportive and very appreciative towards them. Even if they do a very small thing, putting a glass at the right place, you have to make it a very big deal. Like, very, very big deal that they have done it right. Because it's difficult for them also to accept that they have done it right. So you have to
Doc,
make them feel.
my
Yes, Jim,
coach,
you.
I must ask you this because as I said, I was only in the earliest level of studying Reiki. And I would look in the mirror, and the best I could do was say, "Hey, you're not so bad."
Oh,
I couldn't get to the point of saying, "I love you." You know?
So try this from today.
Pardon?
go ahead.
I said you try this from today. Every morning when you wake up and when you go to brush your teeth, what Dr. Gupta said earlier, you look into the mirror and while brushing, you say, "Hey, I love you because you're brushing your teeth. Hey, I love you because you're drinking the
wonderful.
juice." So you can incorporate all these things in your daily life and daily activity. And you will find it so funny because when you smile, your brain gets tricked and
Yes.
the good, happy hormones are secreted. So
Yes.
just try, whenever you're sad, just try holding a pencil like this for 10 seconds and look around.
Okay.
And then you breathe. And then suddenly you will feel that your mind has shifted from depression level 10 to maybe 9 or 8.
It's called having a pressure on your mouth. I do that a lot, just unintentionally. Yeah, but I've never tried the pencil. That's a good idea. I love that you said we have to love ourselves first. And this is something I taught my children for many, many years. If you love yourself, other people will love you because there's respect. You respect yourself. And this is something I learned from the Japanese when I worked for the Japanese. Your body is God. You got to love yourself, right? But as women in general, but I'm sure men do this too, we have a tendency of forgetting that, right? And so when I hit that hard wall one time, I asked myself, what am I doing wrong? I forgot to love myself. So I bought this as a reminder that I have to love myself. I saw it like on the day of awakening, right? And I put it on, and it's my reminder every day that I have to love myself before I can love others and others can love me. And I'm so glad you brought this up because so many people forget that self-respect, right? That self-respect. And I'm so
My life coach wears one of those too.
Really?
Yeah, so maybe I got to get a necklace or something. I don't know.
Well, it's just, you see me wearing a pin as well, and it's a reminder of something. I wear a pin every day as well. But these are little reminders, little touch things that you remind yourself. Like, my dad would go in front of the mirror every day. I love this. And he would go, "Mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the most beautiful of them all?" And then he would quickly grab one of us and put us in front of the mirror and go, "She is, this is what I love her." But he would try to build himself up every day, right? To remind himself that he had to go out in front of the world. But what you share with us is so amazing. We need this every day. We need that positive Reiki flow of us, right?
Because you've changed my day already.
Yeah, look at this. He's smiling. We love you. And again, brush your teeth and tell yourself, maybe we can come up with a song. I love myself. I love me so. I took myself to the picture show.
We need Alexandra May to write for us.
Right. But we got to do that. And all of that is about healing and about all the things that we need to do. And when we heal, when we're happy, guess what? Our immunity goes up naturally, right? We don't think about eating all those fatty foods like Dr. Sagur teaches us. Hello, Dr. Sagur. Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
Namaste and Sashikal.
Namaste. Namaste. Good evening. But we got all of these wonderful, wonderful blessings in life that we need to count.
Okay, before we start our special show talk show with Dr. Sagu, I would like to thank you, Anandmai, for joining us today.
Thank you.
We would love to
so much.
honor
My life sees for life.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for such a beautiful conversation.
And do some.
Yeah, we would like to.
Let's plan a Reiki session.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll do that. I would love to do an online meditation session for you all whenever you need.
That'd be great. Let's do it.
I'm in for it.
I'm in.
And it's time for